customers that use this service. And I'm not going to spoil it, but we got Dylan, who's the head of product for the particular service that we're going to be talking about today.
Hey, Kyle. Hey, Sydney. Great to be here.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hi.
Great.
Sorry, real quick, I want to say hi to Chad. Chad is watching us. Hi, Chad. We love and miss you. Sorry, Dylan. Bring it back to awesome stuff.
No, I was just going to say it's great being here in Vegas. It's hard to tell from the inside of my hotel room, but there's a lot of energy on the floor, on Expo floor where you are. And
I was going to say the virtual backgrounds are looking immaculate this week. It looks like hotel rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, happy to talk about what we've got going on here at Amazon EFS. As folks probably know, and Amazon EFS is a simple shared file storage solution on the AWS cloud. And coming off of Thanksgiving, I had to explain this to my relatives, and pretty well rehearsed at this point of how to bring it down a little bit. But the simplest way to think about it is it's Dropbox for builders who are looking, who work with Linux-based applications here on AWS Cloud. So it's a simple way to share file data across teams, across maybe different components of applications that are trying to collaborate on a single file or on sets of files. And we're happy to announce that yesterday, we just launched a brand new storage class on the service. So EFS really aims to provide a simple solution for whatever data you want to share on AWS. And one of the things that customers always ask about, especially in a year like this one, is how to optimize the cost of storing that data. So EFS offers a set of different storage classes that really designed to support different price and performance needs. So we offered EFS Standard, which is really the storage class that's meant to store your active application data. So it delivers the best performance for that data. But as we know, most data sets also have a set of inactive data that you might not need to keep on the most expensive, fastest storage. So EFS also offers infrequent access storage class for lowering the cost of storing infrequently accessed data. And as of yesterday, we just launched a new storage class called EFS Archive, which really is designed to store really cold, rarely accessed data that based on what we know from our customers really makes up the bulk of what people are storing here on the cloud.
Yeah, and especially if you're in a regulated industry where you have to retain records for X amount of years, right? And you have something that you might not even access for 5 years, but because of a governing or regulated body says you need to hold on to it. This is allowing them to put it into a lower cost, maybe I wouldn't say lower performance, but it doesn't take long to access that data as it's in the new storage class. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So the main value proposition here is that regardless of which storage class your data is in on EFS, it's all instantly accessible. So if it's on standard, it's going to get the fastest performance. So think sub-millisecond latency. So this is stuff that's pretty imperceptible to you and I. But
I'm sure someone out there has a timer. They're just like, it took 0.2 milliseconds.
Yeah, but on the infrequent access and archive storage classes, you're looking at the tens of milliseconds in terms of the latency performance.
That is wild just to think about. Just that.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing. But okay, so it's all on so you don't need to thaw or rehydrate the data. It's there, but in the back end it's on just a different storage class. So for a user experience, developer experience, you're not really seeing much of the same, but from administrative overhead or just deployment of the workload, that's where you would configure that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to storage, the way I like to talk about it is no news is good news. From a storage class perspective, none of your end users or applications are going to even know anything is happening under the hood. But EFS offers automatic intelligent tiering of your files. So what that means is that as data gets colder and you can kind of customize the policies that you apply to your file system, it'll automatically move to colder storage. So right now, by default, we move colder files to infrequent access if they go 30 days without being touched. And then we will move files to archive if they go 90 days without being touched. And then when you touch that data again, it's typically an indicator that that project, that document is becoming hot again, and you want to start working with it. So what we actually do, and then you can enable this, is promote that data back to standard when you touch it after it's in the colder storage. So we've automatically lifecycled this data based on your access patterns, and you don't have to do any heavy lifting with respect to monitoring. And all of this happens completely transparently to the users that are looking to just collaborate on a simple shared file data set.
Got it. And to take advantage of that, do existing customers have to do anything new, or does it automatically start? How does that work?
So for existing customers, they simply need to update their lifecycle policy to include tiering to archive. And for new customers, when you create a file system, it automatically will apply the recommended settings, which include archive as part of the lifecycle policy.
Awesome.
And so for those that may not be necessarily familiar with what a lifecycle policy is, could you give us that, explaining it to my relatives, talk on what a lifecycle policy is real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lifecycle policy is simply just a schedule that you're setting on when to move data across the different storage classes. So by default, we'll move it after 30 days to the middle tier, like infrequent access. But you can customize this from anywhere from 1 day to 360 days, depending on what you know about your end users and your application access patterns. And then and on archive, you simply customize the same thing. By default, we set it to 90 days.
Well, I love talking about it. Can we see something?
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. So,
yeah, that would be awesome. Let's see how this gets applied into the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to do things a little bit backwards here because there's some updates that take a few minutes to show up in the console, and we can do our little demo dance to make sure that those hopefully happen. But first, I'm going to show you how easy it is to work with data in an EFS file system, regardless of what storage class it's in. And then I'll show you how easy it is to set up a file system that uses EFS archive. So,
awesome.
As I mentioned earlier, EFS offers 3 storage classes. It offers EFS standard, infrequent access, and archive. And the lifecycle, what I have here is an individual file system that I've created for this demo. And it already has a lifecycle policy that tiers data to, it doesn't tier data in frequent access, but it tiers data into this new archive class if 1 day has passed since the last time that data was touched. And then what happens, we've also set the promotion policy so that when you do touch that data in the archive class, it'll promote back to standard when you touch it, so that you can again get that lower latency, faster performance.
Well, we're talking of like sub milliseconds here, so really it's like, oh, we don't even. That's still mind blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. But we obviously have a lot of customers that for them the milliseconds matter, and when you're working with a lot of file data sets, the faster you can access that data, the faster you can deliver innovation, deliver insights. So this is certainly something that's top of mind for some of our customers, at least. But what I wanted to show you, so I have a file system here. It has all its data has been already tiered down to the archive class. And what I wanted to show you is really how easy it is to work with this data. So I have an EC2 instance here that's mounted this file system. It has 5 temporary files that each of them are about 1 megabyte. And the reason that customers love EFS is our customers are typically Linux-based developers and builders who love this right here, which is like, I can LS these files. I can do typical file-based commands. It's not the people that I'm talking to at Thanksgiving, but these are the people that love working and building on the AWS cloud, and this is who we're really serving with this service. So they're able to interact with all of these files, regardless of what storage class they're in this intuitive command line interface, using standard Linux, POSIX, semantics, whatever their application is really relying on. And what I wanted to demonstrate was the performance difference and the intelligent tiering that we offer. So what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of a latency benchmark on one of these temporary files.
Are you are you in a terminal? Because right now we have our awesome AWS console looking at the metered size of the EFS system at the moment. So I don't think we have the right window up at the moment.
Oh, that is
let's bring the terminal live. It'll be
know what? Yeah. It's because we didn't do the demo gods dance. That's why.
Yes. I did. I don't think all 3 of you did. I certainly did.
Oh, I might have just called myself out on that one.
That's me.
You had one job,
Use my
Sydney.
screen share here.
Okay, here it comes. There. Now it'll work.
And let's open the terminal. We'll do a terminal.
There we go.
There we go. Love to see it.
Awesome.
All right, so here's the terminal. Sorry. Yeah, so as I mentioned, you can LS these files. I have 5 files here that I've created, and they're all sitting in the archive class, but you can work with them just as you would any other files that you have on this file system. You can collaborate with them across teams of different builders that are working on this data set. And what I wanted to show was the automatic intelligent tiering experience that we deliver. As I mentioned, when it comes to storage, no news is good news. So like the less you kind of notice about what's going on here, the better from a customer or builder experience perspective. But what I'll run is a latency benchmark, which will actually read one of these files as many times as possible over the next 30 seconds. And just clean up this command.
See, this is what happens when we don't do the dance. And everyone said nothing bad can happen if we don't dance.
Well, at least we figured it out on Monday. So now the rest of the week, Kyle, you can catch us dancing on the AWS On Air.
There we go.
Just come by the booth. You'll probably see me and Kyle in the background doing this.
All right. Well, I'm going to type this out by hand, which is
Leet. That's what it is.
Lovely way to.
Awesome. And the fact that he's having a conversation while doing all this too, legendary. In the meantime, if anyone has a awesome cybersecurity dad joke, I would love to hear your dad jokes. I'm a curator of them, and I store them in a database. Actually, I might switch it over to, the new private repost, or even, on EFS to tier it forever. Who knows?
And then you can move it to, or it'll just automatically move to archive when you haven't accessed it. Like there's not been a conference much.
But let's be real though. I'm going to use these jokes frequently. I need them sub-millisecond, okay?
Fair enough. Fair point.
You're also getting some love in the chat there, Dylan. They're saying that real demoers don't use copy paste. So you're becoming a fan favorite already.
Oh dear. There we go. All right. So we're reading this data, one of these files, as many times as we can over the next 30 seconds, and what we're hoping to see is really the latencies that we'll be able to deliver from the archive storage class. They're, as I mentioned, an order of tens of milliseconds, so kind of imperceptible difference from my perspective. But by reading that data, we're actually going to be triggering the promotion policy to move it back to standard for faster access as well. So what we'll see with this round of latency testing is that we're getting an average latency on the order of about 28 milliseconds for reading these files, or reading that file. And what we'll get when we read it again, because now that data has been promoted into standard automatically, kind of completely under the hood, is faster performance. So I'll run effectively the same test and show that data that was in archive is automatically promoted to standard just because we read it using this benchmark. And we'll be able to see much faster latency performance on this test.
I've never seen a file benchmark test before, and this is really exciting. This is really cool.
Yeah, so the main line to look at here is this. The prior test, we had a latency, an average latency about 28 milliseconds. The minimum was 18, the max was 254. And now what we've actually done is deliver an average latency of 1,700 microseconds. So the units change because the performance improved so much. And if we run it even again, I expect we'll deliver even lower latency performance. You can see here our P50 was 600 microseconds, so sub-millisecond latencies at the median for reading that data from EFS standard. So all this storage class data movement is completely transparent to your end users and applications, and all of it gets automatically transitioned down into colder, cheaper storage as it becomes inactive, and automatically promoted into hot SSD storage when it becomes active again. So you'll see here we got an average of 600 microseconds on this third test, now that the data had been solidly promoted into EFS standard before running this test.
Now, there was the question in a chat of just like, what is the benefit of new EFS? And it looks like, one of our awesome mods got to the question before we could. So if that doesn't answer the question, let us know and we can bring it back. But they were just asking, what are the benefits of new EFS and how it could be used? And yeah, that was addressed. Subnote, this is wild. And the fact that it's transparent to the user experience, it's kind of like, avoiding the scream test, so to speak. No news is good news, right? It's
exactly
just that we may not think about on a regular basis. And I feel like I have taken storage for granted up until now. And I have a full newfound appreciation for what it can do and what it does. So thank you for bringing this information to light with us today.
Absolutely. So yeah, the next thing I wanted to show is just how easy it is to kind of get started. So when you're creating a new file system, and this comes with all of the goodness of EFS. I'll hit customize here so we can dive into a bit of the details, but it's really as simple as hitting create. With this feature in particular, where it comes up is in the lifecycle policy or lifecycle management section. And as I kind of shared earlier, it's really about just setting a schedule, and we automatically set one for you to transition your data once it's gone 30 days since the last access into infrequent access storage class, and transition to archive if it's been 90 days since the last time you've accessed it. And then you can optionally set it to promote that data back into standard when you touch it again. And all of this happens right here with the click of a button. You get a file system that's fully managed, highly available, highly durable, so 11 nines of durability. Basically, storage that you never have to think about. It will always be there, and it's now automatically optimized across your hottest data and all the way down to your coldest data. So it's really just simple.
That is, you could plop your computer down at a dinner table and say, hey, tell me what you're configuring, and that is pretty simple. Now, I don't know about this part. Security groups, security is everyone's priority.
But, well, the good news is it's all the defaults are there, and if you want to customize them, that's why we have this customize button. But for 80-90% of customers, you can just go through our what we call our quick create experience and have a file system with one click of a button. You can provide a name if you want, but that's really all we're really asking you to do. And again, it'll automatically tier data across these storage classes, and you'll get something that's always going to be there.
Great. Now, Delwyn, we're here at reInvent in Las Vegas, Nevada, in case you two didn't know where we're at geographically today. But are there any sessions that attendees can join to get more information about this, or like just ask questions, ask the experts, anything like that for the attendees at reInvent, or even those watching virtually? Where can they go to get more information about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So with respect to EFS Archive, there are two main sessions that we're delivering here at Vegas. Today at 2:30 p.m., we'll have a deep dive into EFS Archive, highlighting how we can help you save up to 97% on storage costs with this new storage class. And then on Thursday, we'll do a chalk talk, actually, so a more interactive session where people can come and ask questions to our presenters on how to cost optimize storage across different file storage solutions that we have here on AWS.
Wicked. That's awesome. I love chalk talks. Those are my favorite format because you get to have that experience. I mean, all of it's awesome, but that really gives you that opportunity to talk to the subject matter in that forum and get technically in depth with particular topics. So that's awesome. Great to hear. And then what about anything on the expo floor, like Ask the Expert booth, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can swing by the storage booth, and we'll have experts on hand, happy to answer any questions you might have across file, object, block, any storage solution that we have at AWS.
Great. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much for sharing this information. And Sydney, it's always lovely to see you. And chat, you did not disappoint. There are some awesome cybersecurity, IT-related dad jokes in the chat. That we'll go ahead and bring up some of our favorites, which is going to be all of them because they are all my favorites. They're pretty epic. Roll the dad jokes.
Oh, I'll go with the first one that I saw was the sequel one about like sequel walks in. Oh no, here we go.
Yeah, these are great. This one was
There it is.
The sequel statement walks into a bar and sees 2 tables and approaches the nest. May I join you? All right, folks, well, stay tuned for the rest of reInvent. We are here live on the expo floor. If you want to swing by and say hi when the expo hall opens today at 4 p.m. for the welcome reception, we'd love to see you. Thank you again, Dylan, for telling us awesome information about the EFS. And I have a newfound appreciation for storage now.
Thanks for having me.
Here.
Showing
Thank you
me.
so much.
All right, y'all take care and see you in a few.